At this time, we'd like to have the presentation of colors in the honor guard.
Detail, attend, hunt. Detail, present, arms.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to have the Star Spangled Banner sung by the Tewksbury High School, the choir, and the Tewksbury Swinging Singers.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose cross rise and bright star through the perilous fight for the ramparts we won. We're so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, what wonders singing, came through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home?
Thank you. Please remain standing. We're going to have the Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, and the Girl Scouts do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Detail, order, arms. Detail, hurry, rest.
Okay, now we're going to have the Tewksbury Concert Choir, directed by Celeste Pellegrino, singing America the Beautiful, please.
Forever, praise of
very much. It was awesome. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Kratman. I'm a member of the Tewksbury 9/11 Board of Directors. On behalf of the board, I would like to thank you for joining us tonight as we renew our commitment to never forget. Thank you for silencing your phones. I appreciate that. 18 years ago, Tewksbury resident Fred Simon began a crusade to erect a lasting memorial honoring the victims of September 11th, of the terrorist attacks that had happened in New York, Washington, and Shanksville, Pennsylvania. There was no funding, but Fred was not the type of man to have that stop him. He turned to an old friend, John Ryan, and asked for help. Together they recruited James Carter, Richard Kuko, and eventually Bob Fowler, and also joined the team. Together they worked to create the memorial that we now have here in Tewksbury. In 2004, the committee had a groundbreaking on the 9/11 site here, and we gathered here every year to remember to keep that promise. 21 years have passed since that terrible day where we lost two Tewksbury residents, Peter Gay and Peter Hashin, who were aboard American Flight 11. 93 Massachusetts residents were lost on that day. A total of 2,996 people were killed in the 9/11 attacks. Citizens of 78 countries died in New York, Washington, and Pennsylvania. At the Pentagon, 189 were killed, including 64 on American Flight 77, the airliner that struck Flight 93. 44 people died when the plane crashed in Pennsylvania. Here's a little bit more information about the days of that attack. At 8:46, American Airlines Flight 11 crashed into the World Trade Center North Tower. 55 Massachusetts residents perished. At 9:03, United Airlines Flight 175 crashed into the World Trade Center South Tower. 26 Massachusetts residents were lost. At 9:37 a.m., American Flight 77 crashed into the Pentagon. 1 Massachusetts resident. 9:59, the South Tower collapses. 10:06, United Airlines Flight 93 crashes into a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. No Massachusetts residents were on that flight. 10:28, the North Tower collapses. In approximately 102 minutes, 2,973 people from around the world were killed in this act of terrorism. Since 9/11, there have been thousands of first responders that responded, first as a rescue mission, then as a recovery process. They have died from illnesses contracted from this heroic effort. They should not be forgotten. We will have more in this about that day given by Robert Fowler later on. But at this time, I would like to introduce LARISSA Gay to say a few words. Daughter of Peter Gay.
Thank you so much. Can everyone hear me okay in the back? Or decent enough? I'll try and project my voice as much as possible. Good evening once again, everyone. As always, I would like to thank you all for coming out tonight to commemorate and to remember this day. Another beautiful night we have been given, rain holding off. And I'm so thankful and grateful that you all are able to physically be here in this moment. 21 years. History books. That's all I think of when I hear that amount of time. It's insane to me that it has been that long. There's a whole generation, some of which sitting behind me, that weren't even born when that horrific day occurred. Just makes you realize how much time is a thief. Each year your memories of your loved ones seem to grow a little farther away from you, and each year that the memory and the legacy of this day seems to grow a little harder and harder to keep alive. Grief is not a finite thing. It's an ever-changing, ever-growing part of who you are. I often see myself grieving without even knowing now. It shows itself in short tempers, the dark cloud that's over your head some days, and the moments of vulnerability and fear that we all feel at times that seem to be unexplainable. It's important we let ourselves, that I let myself, feel and maneuver through each one of those instances mentioned above. That I not suppress my emotions but dig deep and realize why I'm feeling that way. Being open and being vulnerable is not a natural or comfortable feeling for most, but it's important that we learn to embrace and accept it. This is something that I have learned over those 21 years. This is something that cannot be put into context in a textbook. The true meaning of being selfless, having self-love, and cherishing what we have is something that I've grown to accept as a lesson, if you will, from losing my dad. Again, this is something that cannot be educated but experienced. It is my hope that this day stands as a reminder to all to truly love and appreciate even on your darkest times. Because without that, what is it that we have to live for? Those that were taken from us had no choice. They were robbed of the future they had. It is my hope that we remember and carry their memories through the spirit of love and appreciation, especially during a time nowadays where that seems to be very hard to reach for. 21 years. A lot has happened. A lot has changed for the good and for the bad. But we keep this right here a constant. And I hope that no matter where life takes each and every one of you, even if you can't physically be here each year to remember this day, that you do it in your own way, by checking in on a friend, family member, by doing a random act of kindness, or even by just taking one moment out of all of our busy lives to be thankful and realize all that we have right here, right now, in this moment. There is so much that we've learned. There's so much growth, but it'll always continue that we never forget. Again, I want to sincerely thank you all for coming out tonight, for my family, for my friends, for all the familiar faces I see each and every year. It's truly, truly amazing that 21 years later, we still have this turnout every year. It's truly amazing. So thank you, and let us never forget.
Thank you, Larissa. At this time, we're going to have the Tewksbury Swinging Seniors sing God Bless America. Thank you. At this time, I ask Chief Joseph Kearns and Ryan Columbus to send up people to read the list of the 93 names, if you would.
Anna Williams Allison, Barbara Arrested, Mira Aronson, Garnett Bailey, Christine Barbato, David Bernard, Mark Davis, Graham Andrew Berkeley, Kelly Ann Booms, John Brett Cahill, Christopher Gessingen, Nellie Heffernan Casey, Jeffrey Coombs, John Corcoran, Tara Freeman.
Patrick Caravan, Captain Gerald Francis DeConto, David DeMeglio, Donald Americo DeTulio, Paige Farley Hackle, Alexander Filippov, Paul Friedman, Carlton Fife, Peter Gay, Linda George, Lynn Catherine Goodchild, Peter Morgan Goodrich, Lisa Fenn Goldstein, Douglas Goel, and Reverend Francis Grogan.
Malie Rachel Hale, Christine Lee Hansen, Peter Hansen, Sue Kim Hansen, Eric Semitikin Harnado, Tewksbury resident Peter Paul Hashim, James E. Hayden, Robert Hayes, Edward Ted Hennessy, Todd Russell Hill, Cora Hildago Holland, Herbert W. Homer, Nicholas Humber, Robert Adrian Jalbert, John Charles Jenkins.
Charles Edward Jones, Robin Kaplan, Ralph Francis Kershaw, Brian Kinney, Judy Levesque, Natalie Lawden, Daniel Levin, Mary Ann McFarland, Susan Mackey, Karen Martin, Joseph Matha, Deborah Medway, Christopher Mello, Craig James Miller, Carlos Montoya.
Laura Lee Morabito, Christopher M. Morrison, Michael Gregory McGinty, Mildred Rose Nairman, Kathleen Nicosia, John Oganowski, Betty Ann Ong, Jane M. Orth, Nathan Ramesh Parandaka, Sonia Morales Guapolo, Patrick Quigley, David E. Reddick, Frederick Charles Ramele, Raymond James Roca, Jean Roger.
Philip Rosenberg, Richard Ross, Jessica Lee, Sally Rama, Jesus Sanchez, Jane Lewis Simpkin, Heather Lee Smith, Diane Snyder, Brian D. Sweeney, Madeline Amy Sweeney, Michael Theodoros, Amy Poyen, James Trentini, Mary Trentini, Antonio Jesus Montana Valdez, Kenneth Waldy, William Weems, Christopher Zabra.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to now have taps played by Sam Polton and Debbie Lazinski.
Detail, attain, hunt. Detail, present, arms.
At this time, I'd like to have Jordan Bitter Stone from Tewksbury High School to sing Amazing Grace.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed, when we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun. We've numberless days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to introduce Bob Fowler from the Tewksbury 9/11 Board of Directors for closing remarks.
Thank you. Before I start, I've been asked to do a commercial. Can you hear me now? I've been asked to do a commercial. All of it, what you see here is from donations, from benefits, and we dearly need support. So I would ask donations to the Tewksbury 9/11 Memorial can be sent to Post Office Box 155, Tewksbury, Mass. 01876. The important number is Post Office Box 155. Thank you very much. So much for the commercial. I'd like to thank my light man, Mr. Mark. Good evening. I'd like to leave you with a few thoughts. Where were you on 9/11/01? Think about that. Look to your left, look to your right. Maybe that person that was with you, would have been with you then, isn't here now. As you look around the memorial, on the bricks are the names of those lost that morning. So many men and women who have died after, from the effects of the working the pile. They are dedicated not by name, but by the stars on the bricks. They are impossible to name at this time because of the hundreds, if not thousands, that died because of the effects of 9/11. And they include police, firefighters, medics, and iron workers. A lot of people didn't realize that the iron workers, when they came to take the pieces of apart that fell. They had to cut them apart. And I'm ad-libbing now. Some of those people died from the effects of 9/11. Some of the stories that you have heard and read are of the people who went up the stairs to try and guide and save as many as they could. And our motto, never forget, stands true today. It's funny to me, there's a chair beside me that's empty. That was supposed to be your chair. But that's, the name of this is The Empty Chair. Always remember on this day, 21 years ago, 246 went to sleep in preparation of their morning flights. 2,606 people went to sleep to go to work the next day. 343 firefighters went to sleep in preparation for their morning shifts. 60 police officers, both NYPD and terminal police, totaling 60, I said that. Police officers went to sleep in preparation for their morning patrol. Paramedics went to sleep that evening in preparation for the morning shift, saving lives. More of them saw past, none of them saw past 10 o'clock on that day. In one single moment, our lives will never be the same. As you live and enjoy the breaths you take, today and tonight, before you go to sleep, in preparation for your life tomorrow, kiss the ones you love, snuggle a little tighter, and never take 1 second of your life for granted. It is all too easy to take for granted the little things, but these are the things that truly matter. Breathe today and slow down. Appreciate the people and aspects of life that you risk, that you rush by, or ever. I did that again. June is my critique. Breathe today and slow down. Appreciate the people and aspects of life that you rush by ever so often. Hold a door. Give a compliment. Do something for someone, no matter how small it may be. Be good. It does matter. I borrowed this from an author. Feel free to borrow it too. Do this, so this and you will all be heroes. Never forget. Thank you, although this isn't the end of the program. Thank you for your attendance for all the years. Thank you and good night. But we'll move on. Never forget.
Thank you, Bob. At this time, we'd like to have the Tewksbury Swingin' Seniors sing "This Is My Country." this time, I'd like to introduce Julia Baruchik, Tewksbury Memorial High School student, to sing "Let There Be Peace on Earth."
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as our Father, brothers all are we. Let me walk with my brother in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Thank you very much. As we conclude tonight, I look around the crowd and I see a lot of, familiar faces, but it does my heart good to look out and see people bringing their children that weren't alive when this happened. It amazes me that no child that's in high school was alive when this happened, and most kids that are in college were not alive when this happened. It's up to us to remind them. It's up to us to make sure that we never forget, and it's up to us to make sure that we have a next generation that's going to be taking over this event and bringing people in. I stand around, I see these young children, all of them were smiling, all showing up year after year, and I know the future of Tewksbury looks wonderful, and I want to thank everybody for coming here. The crowd is always overwhelming, and I'm very proud to be here in Tewksbury. Thank you very much. Never forget. Thank you.